morning, Kevin.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And why are you here at the Urban Revival?
Yeah, I was approached by David to sit on a panel this morning in which I spoke about community engagement, and it's really relevant to the work I do at the City of Flint.
And your work at the City of Flint is?
I'm the lead planner at the city, and I oversee the city's planning division.
Okay, so kind of break that down and tell us what you do.
Yeah, so the city's planning division was kind of reformed in 2012. The city did not have that for almost 20 years
Really?
due to staff cuts, so it reinvested in that through a grant from the federal government. But we oversee the city's parks and rec, streetlights, current planning, long-range planning, data and mapping, and then community engagement work.
So how do you feel about what's going on in Flint right now with the water crisis
Sure.
and so forth?
Sure, yeah, obviously extremely unfortunate, I think, but also perhaps provide some opportunities, and I think it's important to note, this is the acknowledged crisis. There was a crisis prior to the state of emergency when Flint residents had the highest water rates in the nation, and at the time even had, poor water, and it was expensive. So it's I think good in the sense it was acknowledged. It's terrible in the sense that there's been lead in the water, but I think the hope can maybe be that there's a new sense of commitment to Flint residents and Flint infrastructure, and hopefully we can take lessons learned to other communities, especially urban communities that have been disinvested in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when it comes to planning, besides the streetlights and all of this, are you planning for what?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in 2013, the City Council adopted unanimously. It's the city's first comprehensive master plan since 1960.
Since 1960?
1960, yeah. When General Motors had upwards of 40,000 employees in the city. The city had 200,000 residents. We're not quite at those numbers now, but the plan really looks to revitalize the entire city, and I think also looks to put an emphasis on the reproductivity of vacant land. We have a tremendous amount of vacant land. 25% of that land is owned by the county land bank, so we do have some local control. We don't have a ton of speculation from individuals outside of our communities, and I think we need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, but do you think the speculation might come? Because in Detroit, there was a lot of speculation when nothing else was happening.
Yep.
People grabbed a hold of some
prime property.
And now they're doing something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see more of that in the downtown in Flint as you do in certain areas of Detroit, News Center, Midtown, obviously downtown. One thing I think that is a benefit is the land bank in Flint has been around for 10 years. The Detroit land bank is not that old, and they weren't as like they are now. So over the last 10 years, the city, the land bank have worked to at least hold more local control, but then also work with homeowners. So currently now, the land bank has about 5,000 lots that they lease out to residents or they sell outright for $16. It's $16 a year in taxes. To $16. And the residents have first right of refusal. So if you are adjacent to a parcel, that's yours to refuse, first and foremost. And then for some of the larger commercial properties they hold, they're actually... they work with the city, they work with our department to say, we've got interest on this, does it make sense, is it in alignment with the city's master plan? So it's kind of two government entities working together, based off a plan that was developed with a lot of input from the community. It's not perfect, but I think you're not going to get perfect when you haven't done anything for 54 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Detroit's land bank is experiencing some growing pains also right now.
Yep.
They seem to be in the news a lot lately. The motto here in Flint years ago was cars go out and money comes in. Do you think that there's a motto associated with Flint right now?
Well, I think if you look at it in response to the water crisis, it's rebuild Flint the right way. Okay. So if we're going to dig up infrastructure and we're going to repurpose land and we're going to try to, and hopefully with the state government and the federal government with their support and locally, because we can't do it on our own, improve quality of life for residents. Let's do it the right way. Let's take lessons we've learned when we were growing so fast and we were putting up houses next to factories and we were splitting lots to try to squeeze as many people in with no yards and no green spaces. Let's redo it the right way. Let's do LED. Let's think of different systems that we can implement that make the burden on residents less and make the cost on residents less, but also incentivizes new people to say, hey, they're doing things the right way and they're doing creative things.
Yeah, because you could look at it now a different way too. You can look at everything and you have just a different point of view from 50 years ago or whenever that was. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs seem to be, the young people like yourself seem to be really interested in entrepreneurship.
Sure.
Don't you? What do you think about that?
Hey, I think in Flint and in Detroit and in many Midwestern cities, the pie, such a large slice of the pie historically has been one sector, and we're getting burned by that.
Right.
Because when that goes away, we're struggling. So I think if the idea is viable, if it takes into account the local context and the history and the individuals doing their homework, and they want to improve the quality of life for residents, I think anything should be on the table. Right,
needs of the community and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of fodder out there. It can do a lot, with that creative mindset.
Yeah.
And I've heard the term entrepreneur mindset today a lot, quite a bit. Where would you like to see the city in 5 years?
Sure. Well, 5 years, I'm hoping we're not talking about that you can't have access to quality water, or you're afraid to bathe your child in water, or there's legionnaires or some disease coming up and people aren't pointing fingers. And that's where I hope, at least on that front, we are. I think as a community, I hope there's less racial tension and divide. I think we're still feeling that today, and the water especially has even kind of brought up some conversations we were having maybe 5 years ago that I thought we were getting at least through a bit more, but we're kind of taking a step back there, and rightfully so. It's understandable. But I think we're a community that individuals and entrepreneurs want to come to as well. So many of my friends, when I graduated, I did the same, moved out west. I can't tell you how many people I know in Denver, Colorado, or in California. So I hope we're a desirable state, not just a city or a region, but a state.
Well, I see people probably coming here. They could be a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
More so than in Detroit. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited about Flint.
Yeah.
And the sky is the limit, really.
I hope so. That's what we say is, especially if you've chosen to stay in the city, you should be rewarded for that.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. Very good. Very good. Thanks.